What's happening, everybody? What's going on? Yeah, I see y'all starting to come in here. It's gonna be an interesting night. If you got questions, better get them ready. Better get them ready. All right. So who we got in here so far? Wait for you to pop up in the chat. Bill and Trucker. What's going on, buddy? What's going on, Maurice? What's up, Jason Ewing? Hope y'all having a good week so far. Getting ready for this weekend. Yeah, man. Jason Ewing. All right, Shannon's somewhere close. Jason's here. Shannon's close. Shannon's close. What's going on, Jarrell Dudley? How you doing, brother? Yeah, you know the Ewings, they travel they are clear. They're like twins attached to the hip. Siamese twins. Yeah, we got some good guests on tonight. Waiting in line like those new Jordans about to be released. Got questions about that 8.5 300 blackout and that dagger. All right, Maurice, I see you. You got questions about 300 blackout and daggers. Appreciate you tuning in, Jarrell. Appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and get this started because one of these gentlemen can't stay with us too long, so we're going to go ahead and bring him on in. All right. There we go. We got Palmetto State Armory in the building. Well, gentlemen, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
I'm Josiah McCallum. I'm the Consumer Relations and Affiliate Marketing Manager for PSA.
Hey there, I'm Chad Wiley. I'm the CEO of Palmetto State Armory.
All right. Pleasure to have you, gentlemen. Glad you all came through and hung out with us. I'm an affiliate with these people, so I had to have them on here. Had to. My first question is, you did something really smart. I think it was ingenious. What made you come up with Right to Bear?
That was Jamin. He wanted to get into the insurance space just to cover all the bases. He's trying to expand into more, I guess, lifestyle and ancillary products other than firearms. So they got together and at the JJE level, which is our parent company, they got together and decided that one of the things that they were going to get into was handling concealed carry insurance. It'll expand later into instructor insurance and that kind of thing. But it's just another tool in the toolbox to have, as much under one roof as you possibly can.
Okay. So how much influence did you have in that? Were you part of that decision, or you just
my influence is more around the guns, the design, the engineering pieces of it, what we're going to kind of do next. I've had a big play in the ammo lately. He's got me pulled into that because I've been reloading for 20 years. I'm a competitive shooter for 15, 16 years. He knows that's kind of like my wheelhouse. So I've been controlling a lot of that, but most of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis is strictly Palmetto State Armory. It's not really anything to do with the JJE family of products. We support them and we sell their stuff and, we recommend it, but that's just not one of my decision points.
Okay. So how did you get your start? Where did you come from as far as what's your background?
It's kind of odd. I spent the majority, went in the Navy, had law enforcement, got in IT. It paid way better than both. Spent 15 years in executive management of IT. Jamin, about 6 or 7 years ago, needed a CIO, and he wanted a CIO. There's not a lot of technology people that are gun guys at all. So he and I hit it off immediately. I come into the company. He saw the value I had outside of just IT. And then in about 3.5 years, he promoted me and then promoted me again into the CEO role as he moved up into JJE. He's managing at kind of a top umbrella level, and he wanted to have strong, people who really are passionate about what they're doing at the ancillary company. So I got promoted up that way. I'd never been in the gun industry before, but it's kind of odd. I was the only, an IT guy that was, every weekend competitive shooting and reloading and collecting guns. And, I've always had a knack for it. But I think that's where the appeal from Jamin came to me is I had executive leadership, which is really all you need to run a company. It doesn't matter what the field is. You got to have the ability to lead and manage people or whatever. And the fact that I was actually way more of a gun guy than 90% of the people that's in the industry, probably, believe it or not. So it's at my level, at the executive level, you don't see a lot of like real gun people unless it's a small shop.
I think that's in a lot of industries, though. A lot of times the people on the executive level don't have any background in whatever industry they're working in. They just came out of college with a degree and went up to the top.
Right.
So, and Josiah, what is your background?
So I have my bachelor's degree is in education, and very quickly learned that teaching wasn't my thing. I really I spent some time. I graduated my bachelor's degree and started working on my master's degree, and in business. And my brother and I, we were talking. He had just come back from Iraq. He had a TBI, and I was working in retail management, and he was having some problems concentrating. And he was an accountant at the time, and I was getting tired of the retail space. And we were just like, hey, what do we do? And so we were like, we want to start a business, and we threw around some different ideas, and we really found there was no in the Columbia area. There wasn't a really good gun store that was focused on had really good customer service. There was and the mag ban the assault weapons ban had expired, and there wasn't really anybody. A lot of people taking over, and we knew that there was a market for that. So we started out by selling magazines, and we got into ammunition, and then there's stories out there about how it's slowly. So it went from our brother's basically a 4-car garage into what it is today with 1,600 employees for JJE Capital, in about 13 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you've been there since the beginning, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me and my brother, we were the original owners. I was in there for about 6 years as an owner. And then in JJE, what people sometimes they like, what does JJE stand for? It's Jamin, and then the two guys who bought my shares, Julian and Ed. And I took about a year and a half out, and then came back in, and now I'm just an employee. I can relax a little bit more. I don't have all the stress.
Gotcha. But. Okay. So what can we expect from PSA here in the near future? I know y'all got some rabbits up in
You have no idea the stuff that I've heard, and Jamin drives a lot of the gun, kind of what he's wanting to do and kind of the direction of where we're going. But he kind of sets the direction, and I help push it across the finish line. But there's probably 10 more AK variants that are new designs that are coming out. There's new pistols. You got the subcompact. You've got the 40s. You've got the competition, long slide versions.
You say 40s?
Mm-hmm. He'll release a 40 and a 45. I don't know which one will be first, but when you get into the large frame calibers, some of those things, the frames and whatnot, can transfer over. Right now, we're kind of limited to 9mm with what we have. But we just released a large frame. We'll have a long slide next. It's just a natural progression. But I don't know. It's funny. I could have said years ago that we'd be limited on what we could do and how much we could produce. But I mean, right now, honestly, the sky's the limit. You could wake up in the morning and go, hey, I want this, and we start working on it. So
gotcha.
we're certainly getting the manpower, especially in Ferris Engineering, which is our engineering firm for the JJE family. We've, been hiring engineers left and right, and people that can really get down in the nuts and bolts and help us design guns. So as far as the, releases coming out before SHOT Show, I've got a list. We're doing steel cased ammo through AAC. We're going to do 5.7 ammo through AAC. There's just a whole list there. We got Soviet arms. Cameron and I kind of were instrumental in launching that. About 2 years ago, Soviet arms is kind of let's call it the Russian kits or the Czech kits or the Romanian kits. We actually get the kits, bring them in, clean them up, sell them. That's coming out. We've got a huge announcement of something similar to Soviet arms. It's going to be a branch off of PSA at SHOT Show. It's going to be pretty exciting. It's kind of something that we haven't touched in a while, which is our bread and butter, is the AR.
Okay.
We've kind of let the AR get a little stagnant. I think personally, we haven't put a lot of design effort into it and kind of change how we typically produced or how our AR typically looked. So
Right.
we got a big SHOT Show announcement that's coming out. That's I think it's going to take the industry by storm. It's I don't want to give any special details, but he and I have been working pretty much nonstop on it for the last 2 or 3 months. I think everybody's going to be happy.
Okay. Okay. So, SHOT Show. No, I got to come see PSA. Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely be
Yeah, you
there.
got to come to the booth at SHOT Show. It's going to be Logan. My marketing director is amazing. She set it up. She's redesigned the booth. We got a bigger booth space because a lot of people's pulling out of SHOT Show. I don't know if people know that, but
Yeah.
it's after COVID. I think. Yeah, I've got my own feelings of SHOT Show. I like the gathering better. It's something we did to interact. I like the
Oh,
interaction.
that was great.
I like customer interaction. You know, it doesn't do me any good. I think in the 80s and 90s when that stuff started, you know, CEOs and people didn't get to talk, and the radio and media didn't have social, you know, internet and whatnot to share.
Right.
And I think it was essential. I think SHOT Show was a place that you came and everybody talked, and you got to see each other once a year and talk about your new products and kind of do a dog and pony. We do that every day on Facebook, right, for free, or Instagram or wherever. We don't have to have this huge $500,000 event to walk around with each other.
As well, Chat, I got to add in there as well as they did, like, you know, from like even PSA buying from XYZ company, you know, you go there for your SHOT Show deals, you know, wheeling and dealing what you needed for the next year.
Right.
Well, you can do that via Skype or via whatever now. So, I mean, it's just some of the reasons there. Just it's not.
There's no reason for it. I mean, we'll still do it because we do have people that want to come out and meet us and talk to us and industry partners and whatnot, and we'll keep doing it. But I mean, it's kind of, to me, it's just a waste of money. I would rather spend that money on having a bigger gathering and having actual, like, my customers come hang out and shoot with us or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is more valuable as a company, you know, to have access to all of us, Josiah, myself, Cameron, whoever. I'd rather give our consumer base the opportunity to talk with us and share what we have and what we're doing and demo and whatnot than people within
letting the customer base shoot the product is huge.
Yeah, I mean,
where they can at NRA or anything, letting them shoot it and letting them. I mean, there's a lot more smaller events like that popping up all over the place.
Right, because it's fun. You get to interact with the consumer directly, and I love doing that. You know, walking around with a bunch of industry guys, I'm telling you that I'm unique when it comes to the senior leadership. A lot of these guys don't. I couldn't talk ballistics with half the people that run and manage gun companies. It's just not there. So I'll set the gathering. I rode around with a guy at the gathering. He knew me from Facebook or whatever, introduced himself, and we rode around the property and talked about long range shooting because he was getting into it, and he's come to a couple matches. So I mean, that's what I want to do. I don't care to hobnob, that kind of thing. So,
so
I'd rather work with people like you than other industry. I mean, it's good for deals, but at the end of the day, it's not really helping me. In my opinion, it doesn't help us promote our products to show what our products are to other people that's promoting products as well. You know, so
right. So speaking of if like this, my guy, regular gun guy, has a meetup. He started a couple of years ago. We had the second one this past year in Israel, and with the second one, there was an award ceremony that was created to go along with it, a youth award. And the next one is coming up in June. That'll be the third one. So if y'all are interested, y'all can come out. There'll be lots of influencers and probably 300-400 people that are supporters of our channels and consumers.
what's
What's it called again?
It's called a regular meetup.
Okay, cool.
It's not a regular meetup.
Is that part of the Gundies?
Nope.
No. Okay, we got invited to it too this year. So
yeah. So this is it was basically like the gathering. So the last one we had here in Nashville, Lenny McGill from the Glock store. I I worked with him in the Glock store on some stuff, and so we were able to get his private phone for the event this year.
Oh, that's good.
So Optics Planet came out, Ammo Depot came out. They were sponsoring the event. There was like 250, 300 people here, and everybody just went out. We had a big, huge range day, kind of like the gathering. Everybody was out shooting guns and stuff like that, and it was great because it would be great to have more people like you all there as vendors, bringing stuff for people to hands on with, meet, talk to you, ask questions, shoot the stuff.
Right.
And we're looking for more people like that to come aboard.
Yeah, keep Josiah in the loop. Josiah, just give that information to Logan. If we're available, we'll do it. We do a lot of events like that. I don't have a problem with that at all.
It's the weekend of June 15th through the 18th, I believe it is.
That's AK Masters.
That weekend?
I think so. We can look it up. We'll don't quote me on that.
Just shoot me an email,
and
we'll take a look at it.
All right, I got you. All right, so somebody had a question for you. They said any 10-5 300 blackout barrels with a 1 and 5 twist count.
I could ask. Not to my knowledge. I
haven't heard anything either.
I haven't heard anything. No. I mean, but it's not. If we had a huge demand for it, that's not the twist rate's not. It's determined by the draw. So I mean, we could do something like that if that's the first time I've ever heard that question asked. To be honest with you, but
yeah, I've never heard of a 300 blackout barrel with a
1.5.
It might be a niche market, but we make our own barrels, and when we do it, in order to make you want to maximize your profit, we have to do 1,000 at a time. So I just don't know that if it's a niche market, I don't know. It's interesting. Something I'm going to look into.
I learn stuff from these podcasts too. Sometimes I miss things. I'm pretty immersed. I'm pretty immersed into the industry, as far as what's coming out new and that kind of thing. But I'll look and see if it's something if that's the new greatest thing, we'll do it. I'm sure.
I don't know if it's the new greatest thing. It's a personal preference.
Yeah, it could be stabilization. I'm assuming for subs, but
yeah, I mean it will speed up the bullet coming out, but at the same time, that's got to be something that people are going to buy. You can't just throw it out there. That's a lot of R&D to make sure that thing runs properly.
Right. The speeds and spin drift and all that. 300 blackouts maximum. I mean, I don't anything past 100. I leave it alone with the 300 blackout. That's a close range hammer is what it is. So
yeah.
The ballistics. If you study ballistics at all, and we do a lot. I do a lot. Me and my shooting partners, we've looked at 300 blackout. Hog hunting, coyote hunting, all that. Real good. 50 yards, I would not want to get hit with it, but it falls like a rock when it gets past from 0 to 100, and it's okay. 100 on, she's falling faster than she's flying. So
yeah. 300 blackout is my favorite caliber.
Right.
That's my favorite. That's my baby.
So I'm assuming subs.
Man, I don't care. I love shooting 300 blackout.
Supers
I don't care if it's grass.
Do you shoot suppressed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's yeah.
That's it.
I'm not gonna lie. I got a 300 blackout two stamper right beside my bed. It's a shorty with a tucked suppressor. So, and with the suppressor and a nightlight on it, it's that's my go-to in the middle of the night. People don't.
Yeah.
You can have a whole conversation on what people think. Like I go crazy on the internet and just keep my mouth shut sometimes when people talk about their home defense guns. For instance, I was in a gun shop. It's been a month ago. So, and a guy came in, security guard type guy doing club management, right? He asked for what the sales guy's recommendation of what would be a good self-defense rifle or gun or pistol or whatever in a nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
What would you think they sold him? Nightclub, crowded with people, right?
So I worked security in a nightclub. And
he sold him an AR-15.
Yeah, and that's a rifle is not something that you're going to be shooting in a nightclub.
You got over penetration, you got flash, you got there's so many things that can go wrong with that situation. I just shook my head. I mean, it's their gun store; they do what they want to do. But the guy's recommendation to this guy that was just wanting help was to get a 5.56 to do club management within 30, 40, 50-yard shots inside. And he specifically said for inside the club.
Nah, you're not shooting an AR in the club, man.
No,
you're gonna make everybody deaf. You're gonna kill a whole lot of people.
Right.
You're gonna penetrate through walls. You're gonna do all kind of stuff, man.
Right.
So
so that's the kind of
if I'm when it comes to nightclubs, we never had an incident inside the club where we had to use a gun.
Right.
All the incidents where we had guns came in the play were outside.
Parking lot.
So if you let somebody in there with a firearm in the first place, you need new security anyway.
Correct. Correct. There's a whole lot, like I said, there's a whole lot wrong. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be a sniper on the roof at his nightclub, but he did not need the 18-inch rifle that he walked out of that store with. That's
a full-size 18-inch AR at that.
Oh, it was an 18-inch, yeah. Front sight post, the whole nine. Yeah, all he needed was a bulletproof vest and some multicam, and he'd have been full on LARPing.
So this Silverback said, do you guys outsource any of your barrels? Which I know you do.
We do about, I'd say we do about, what'd you say, 85% all in-house?
Yep.
Ish. Mm-hmm. And then we've got a couple of people that we work with on specifically. So like right now we're trying to be 100% self-sufficient because the market's down. I don't know if we'll get into that conversation here shortly, but the market's hurting kind of right now. There's a lot of gun companies coming up for sale, and people's dying on the vine a little bit because of this slump. But when we're capable of doing it, when we have the ability to do it, we'll try to be 100% self-sufficient within the JJE family of products. The problem comes, you got to kind of keep relationships open with other manufacturers because we do have to. You got to understand, there's times when we sell 4,000 uppers a day.
Right.
So to a barrel manufacturer, they got to do at least that plus 25% to keep whip for the next day. So you're looking at 600 to 6,500 barrels a day at peak.
Right.
You got to keep people a carrot on a string with some of these other barrel manufacturers to be able to do offset supply whenever you get a big jump. So we still, right now we're trickling in. I also run Lead Star, which is the higher end competition gun. Right. We have a barrel specific maker for them because we never want to interrupt PSA normal production. PSA normal production is the heart and soul of the entire JJE companies, period. It feeds everybody. So we don't touch PSA's production capacity. So what we do is we have these other companies come in and work for like Lead Star, DPMS, other things like that. And that way, those barrels manufacturers and other manufacturers, other products, we've got a relationship with them. It's open. So if PSA needs stuff, we can subsidize what we're getting for PSA to keep them fed. So it's kind of like a harmonious little, everybody's in working together in unison and making sure everybody's happy and fed. Because the worst thing that can happen is other suppliers go out of business, right? Because when other suppliers go out of business and you can't respond quick enough to upgrade and hire, we're having a heck of a time hiring, people or whatever. It hurts us as bad as it hurts them when they go out of business. So you got to keep these other machine shops fed a little bit just to be able to supply you when you need it. And the whole reason Jamin's buying every machine shop he can get his hands on is because when he started out, if you remember, there was a boom. It was the Obama boom. And you couldn't get stuff. And to be honest with you, I think they snubbed their nose at Jamin because he was some new guy that just showed up and had a good following. But, you're not going to turn down Smith & Wesson. You're not going to turn down DD. You're not going to turn down Remington, Ruger. So he had a hard time getting parts. And I think his life's journey is to be as self-sufficient within his own family of products as possible. But that said, you can be vertically integrated all you want, but when a peak happens, you've got to go out and use other people.
Right. So I've kind of noticed that over the years, JJE has a trend of buying up companies.
Right. Yeah, because they come from sale, and this isn't a dig at any machine shops out there, it's a common, I think it's a common thing. A lot of these guys, a lot of the machine shops are run by amazing machinists. They are the best, right? They got their craft and they took it to the highest level they could, but they don't always enjoy or can manage the machine shop that they start, especially when it gets to a certain point. Sometimes when it gets to a certain point, you either cut bait or you close down or you sell or do whatever. And we keep these relationships open. And when the guys come, like John Sneed, for instance, great buddy of mine, he ran STS for years, which is one of our premier machine shops, in my opinion. He came and he said, "Look, Jamin, I'm getting tired. I'm old. I'm sore. I'm worn out. Give me, buy me out. I'm done." And that it happened that way. So, and there's a lot of people who do that. Once you get established and you get to where you want to be, some of these guys are true grit, blue collar, work their way up to being millionaire people, and they want to go enjoy life. And that's happened multiple times.
Okay.
But we will buy them if we've got the cash to expend on a business. He'll jump on it in a second. I'm looking at a couple. He'll have who he thinks is like the best in that area, that specific expertise or whatever.
Right.
He'll kind of engage us to go out and kind of do a look over the facility or shop or product or whatever. And I've got a couple I'm working on I can't really talk about, but I mean, we're constantly looking at acquisitions, to kind of help bring into the fold. And we're trying to get into stuff that's not just guns too, because we don't know what this political environment is going to turn into. It could be, we may have another 20 years with the AR platform. We may have 5. We may have 1. I don't know. Nobody knows. So we're trying to diversify. The machine shops are going out doing work for other companies and getting other things. So yeah, it's a pretty complex situation.
Yeah. Now I've noticed over the years, you all's quality keeps getting better and better and better. And is that a result of you all buying out those companies and being able to do the your QC basically in house? Is that?
Yes, part of it. The other part of it is you start as you grow, you're starting to build stuff. You're getting stuff out quick. Especially during boom periods, you bring people out. Sometimes they don't get trained 100%, and we're talking about several years ago.
Right.
We've had a very big effort. I don't know if you've met Cameron or seen Cameron on the Facebook groups. He's kind of like my co-part on the Facebook groups. He's over manufacturing, and really there was a big paradigm shift. He was in QC for a long time. He ran QC for probably 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And he had a big focus on the quality that came through. That's kind of when you started seeing and I'm not tooting my horn at all either. Jamin was very busy, and he had to have boots on the ground in these key areas to kind of keep the train moving, but also kind of focus on what we could do better. Because he'd always call me, "What can we do better? What can we do better? How do we do this? What should we do there?" And that's when we started doing the dimple barrels. We started doing we do pin and welded gas blocks on some of the Gauzy rails. We started nitride, melanite or nitride coated gas tubes. There's just a lot of things that we did. It was little value added tweaks.
Right.
That added to the product, added to the brand. It didn't cost a lot of money. We didn't have to pass it on, but we changed some things. And then Cameron moved from QC over to our manufacturing. We had an opportunity there. We put him over there. So he took his 2 or 3 years of background knowing what was coming from manufacturing into QC and reversed it. So now what you're seeing is somebody who spent a couple years on the backside looking over product, now in charge of building the product. So the product's got a little better look when it comes through QC, and QC's gotten a little tighter on how they catch things because they're not blaringly obvious problems anymore, right? It's not like a big scratch on the receiver, somebody left a screw out or some dumb thing like that. It's actually, there may be something out of tolerance. We're doing a lot more inbound inspections. We're doing a lot of more outbound inspections. Okay. We're doing 100% test fire on everything that comes out. I mean, it's changed a lot in the last 3 years, specifically because we hired a good group of people that could be put in place to do nothing but make sure that the product coming out's better.
Right.
And we hired a lot of good people too for QC as well, and Cameron Chad were instrumental in that too. So it's the right people, hiring the right people, and they're continuing to do that.
Right.
And we'll get better. And we'll get better. There's no there will never be content. That's part of the PSA way. It drives me crazy sometimes, but it's just the way we are. We're never content. There's never a time when we say, "Oh, we're good. Let's just maintain status quo." It's not going to happen. It's this constant evolution of the way things are, and some of the stuff that we're going to do at SHOT Show. You're seeing the evolution of like the ARs, and people will. I'm on a lot of groups, and if you watch my videos, I compete with our products, whether it be Leadstar, PSA, or whatnot. We produce really good guns, and we're changing things as we see data coming from customer service. If we've got parts that need to be replaced, if we got some type of a metallurgical problem, anything that we see, we make a corrective action to, and we move forward. And a lot of stuff, like when I first came here and started getting involved with social media, it was crazy. I mean, people, you either loved us or hated us. I mean, there was no in between. The AK community despised us. The American-made AK to the elitists, some of them still's a problem. I don't care about that little 2% subset. You'll never win them over.
Right.
But when we started engaging with these people and like, hey, come shoot our products, come see how they're built. We talked to Jim Fuller. We talked to Paul. We talked to all these people trying to get feedback. And now our AKs are good. I mean, you go to AK Masters, you go to Red October, you go to Clash Bash. I go to all of them, and there's a lot of people that come up and shake my hand going, I just finished fifth with my 103 or whatever. A lot more PSA AKs because I think where we fit in specifically with the AKs, we got the kits, which you can't get anymore. We build those. They're beautiful kits. I just got one the other day. It was a 1971 kit. Gorgeous. We build those through Soviet Arms. That's a collector piece. I'm not going to go out and drag that through the mud. With the import issue and the stuff that's going on, these cool guns that you got years ago that was $200 out of magazines and pawn shops, that's over. Those guns are $15 to $2,000. An RPK or a SVD right now, I want an SVD so bad I can't stand it. I'm not going to pay $25,000 for one. They were $800, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So where we fit in is we can get you a replica of the gun that you may have. Let's say you got a legit 103, right? Sitting in your closet. Are you going to drag it through the mud at AK Masters or Clash Bash? Probably not. Get one of ours, shoot it, run it hard. It breaks. You send it in. They fix it. They send it back. You're good to go. I mean, that it's really cool, and it's an awesome. I fell in love with some of the AKs and the variants. It's really cool to have them and own them. And for the people who was lucky enough in the 80s and 90s to get them, that's awesome, and I'm glad you did. But there's a whole generation of kids and stuff that are coming up through that wants to enjoy the AK that they can't get their hands on. So we've got to be there to supply them with those platforms so that they can continue the tradition, or it dies.
Yeah. Well, I work in a store, and we get a lot of you all's products coming through.
Right.
And those AKs you're speaking of, I've actually seen 2 or 3 come through this week.
Right.
And those things are beautiful.
The Soviet Arms versions, or
the Soviet Arms. I've seen probably 2 or 3 of them come through.
So we've got a guy that works in our shop. I got to give him a shout out, Jeff. He's a classic car painter, and he had some issues with I guess the paint and being up in paint booths for a long period of time. He got out of the car industry. He came to us. He's an actual freelance. A lot of the custom series guns, if you go to our website, the cool camouflage patterns and we did a coronavirus gun, all the crazy stuff that we do. He freehands that. So really? We put, he's an artist. Like, he's a legit. Some of the camo patterns that we have, like on my guns, he paints those with a paint airbrush by hand.
Oh wow!
I urge anybody, go to the PSA custom site or the PSA custom guns on our website, and all those painted guns are him and a guy named, we call him Green Bean, but those two guys are painters. But Jeff's also like a craftsman, and he does really like a lot of good stuff with wood. We've got some intricate wooden etched like engraved wooden stocks and stuff that
Yeah.
depict movie scenes. And I mean, this guy, if he touches anything, he turns it into art. He's that good. And he hand finishes that Russian redwood, but with every gun that goes out. We have some that we'll keep kind of beat up or whatnot, but the rest of them we clean up and send them out, and they look like they did. Some of those guns are untouched. The last group of kits I got were new old stock that never been issued.
Wow.
So
yeah, y'all are putting out some nice stuff. That was another thing, the whole Soviet arms thing. I didn't know that was yours.
Yeah, well, we wanted to keep. We did that because a couple things. I've heard some morons online say that we did it because we were trying to hide our name. It has nothing to do with that. What we didn't want to do is take the traditional RPK kit, Kalashnikov, any of the Izzy kits, anything, and put our name on it and call it Palmetto State Armory. You know what I mean? So those are they're built by like the best builders that we have. They're assembled and disassembled. The kits when they come in, they're taken down with. I mean, these things are white glove baby through the entire process. We distinguish them because they are Soviet. They're truly traditionally Soviet platform parts that have been cut up and then redone on our receivers and barrels, basically.
Okay.
So that's where the Soviet arms came from.
So all the barrels you all use on the AKs, are all of them the Cold Hammer Forge FN barrels?
No. So we've got our own version of a Cold Hammer Forge barrel that's not chrome lined. Then we have the FN CHF-CL, and then we've got, which is personally my favorite, are the nitride barrels that we put in like the GF3.
Okay.
Those barrels, believe it or not, from my testing and everybody's engineering's testing that we've been on, the GF3 nitride barrels are actually more accurate than the other two.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The CHF 100, all of the nitride stainless steel is the most accurate nitride, and then you get CHF-CL. They're not meant to be accurate. The CHF-CL barrels from FN are great. They're amazing barrels. They are absolutely amazing barrels. Don't get me wrong, but they're not meant to be sub MOA. They were meant to be in killing machines, and I think the military standards 3 MOA, I think. So we get good accuracy with them, but they don't guarantee them. The nitride barrels are a little tighter. My nitride barrel, I've got a picture. I was getting ready to go to AK or Clash Bash, and I took an ARC. The ARC's my favorite. I'm a traditionally AR guy, so having an AK that uses an AR magazine suited me. I know that's like sacrilege in some circles, but I liked it. Took it out, and I had like a 2.5, 3-inch group at 100 yards with a red dot with that barrel. So I don't think that you could really complain about that, not especially out of an AK on a bag, you know. So
yeah, I'm at a point now. I want an AK, and and the more I'm seeing like the Soviet arm AKs come through, and after shooting the AKs, I shot at the Gathering. From on the PSA side, the Lead Star side, I was like, yeah,
you need to get one. I mean, let me tell you this though: don't get two of them together because they multiply. I got one, and then another one came, and I put them in the gun room, and now there's like 12 or something.
Yeah, so
I'll tell you a story. I was walking through I'm an AR, I'm an AR guy. Everything I do is AR. It used to be everything I did was ARs or pistols, right? So Jamin, first week there, he says, I'm going to do a tour. We walk around, we go through the AK sale. And he picks the AK up, and it's like, I hope one day that I find somebody that looks at me like Jamin looked at this gun, right? He's looking at it like he's about to make sweet love to this thing, and he says, aren't they gorgeous? These are gorgeous. And I said, I'm not really an AK guy. And he looked at me like he was about to kill me. He said, you will be. And he walked off. And lo and behold, I bought Vickers books and started doing research and studying and trying to understand, as much as I could about them. I'm still not an expert. I don't claim to be, but I know enough to sit around and have a logical conversation with most people about the type of materials we use, the type of metals we use, why we use them, how they're maintained and manufactured and that kind of thing. Because the AK community is the only AK community that's a problem with. Some of the AR guys will get into the the 90, the C-158 steel conversations, and you got to have this and got to have that, and very specifics. But AK guys, they know down to the pitch of the rivet what they are. So you got to be a little bit more sharp on your toes in a conversation about an AK, because these guys, it's God bless them. I mean, it's a passion beyond any passion that any other industry I think has.
Yeah, I work with a guy, and he's a AK nut, and he sits there at work all day just drooling over AKs all day, just playing with them. And we had a KUSA come through. It was one of their newer ones, and he was like, man, and he would play with that gun all day. I was like, Andrew, why don't you just buy it? He was like,
buy one.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it. It's not on the wall.
So the gateway drug, if I were to suggest one, I'd get an AKV. A little cheaper to shoot, 9mm, 35 round magazines. They're a blast. You can't go wrong with those. My second favorite is the 103s. I've always had a soft spot because I help with that one a little bit. And then the ARC, the 5.56 AK that uses AR magazines. That's been one of my top three now since it's been released. So that's your three options, I think, for a newbie, is to go the 9mm route, the 103, or the 5.56.
I love the AKV. Don't get me wrong. I shot it at the gathering.
I like the V.
The 74 that you came out with.
Mm-hmm.
The 5.45. Yeah.
I like the 5.45. With me, I've got so many. We shoot, I don't know, I think this year we'll have shot like 30 major matches, like big matches, and they're all mostly 5.56 or 9mm. To me, it just made sense for me because I got so much 5.56. All my presses are set up to reload for it. I've got magazines, D60s, doubles, any kind of configuration of a magazine, I'd ever need, which suits me just for what I'd be using it for. But some would say you need to start with a 7.62. That's your traditional. Just get a GF3 wood, be your first or whatever. But if you're like me and you like to play, have fun, shoot, and go have a ball at the range, those three are the three that I would pick up if I were going to go have fun.
See, me, if I'm gonna dive into this AK thing and grab one, it's got to be 7.62 by 39 off the rip.
It makes sense. I mean, and that makes sense. The 5.45, I like them, but I would pick 5.56 over 5.45. It's just a personal, just so I don't have to. For me, I don't have to store or stack another style of ammo.
Gotcha. So the closest thing I've ever had to an AK, I had a Mac 90, and then KS-47.
KS-47, yeah.
Yeah, and when I was moving, I sold a KS-47 to get some extra money.
Right.
So I've been talking to the guy about buying it back. So we've come to an agreement. So I'm fixing to buy it back because I miss my gun.
Well, if you wait a little while, we there's something in the works. I'll drop on you. We're doing a if you like the Jackal, or if you got to shoot the Jackal, there's going to be a KS-47 version of that.
Oh man, you're killing me.
Yeah. So that way you can go bufferless and do your folding stock and do whatever you want to do with it. And the Jackal's taken off really well. We're pretty proud of it. I had a lot to do with that at the end. Matt and I, worked back and forth on some of the design elements, how the final product, how it actually released. Still not happy with a couple things, and I think we're going to change in the next version or two. But as far as a platform, that gun's it's been very well received.
Yeah, the Jackal is on my list. I was talking to Josiah about that earlier. Yeah, the Jackal.
The only issue that we had, we're getting better. We had. I mean, you look back in history, I've heard of dumpster fires of initial releases. We got bit with AKV. This isn't anything super secret. If you do 5 minutes of research, you'll see it. But we had the AKV issues, and it kind of was an egg on our face, and we sat back and we worked hard on it. Every release we've had since then, when it was got into consumers' hands have been pretty minimal issues. The Jackal pretty much went off without a hit, except we determined that the sled that we need a little bit more meat in the sled, because when you mortar it, it could cause that some breakage. The gun still functioned; it just didn't look good. So we changed that sled, and that's really the only thing that we've had to do outside the original design, which is solid. Matt and I both took a couple of those guns to 10,000 rounds, and then we did samples of 5,000 through a couple other ones. I mean, it's just a well-designed, well-built gun.
Yeah, and I definitely want to get my hands on the Jackal. That's definitely one. And if you're saying you got a KS-47 version coming out, then I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold tight. I'm still gonna buy back the other one.
Yep.
I'll just get that one added to the family.
So we got the 300 will come out first. The short barrel 300, and then they'll do a long barrel 300. There's a rifle length.
300 blackout.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The 300 blackout's imminent. The blackout version of that gun is coming pretty quick, and it's cool. We did a redesign of the handguard and the gas adjustment knob. It comes out to the end of the handguard, so it's not recessed.
Okay.
Looks a little cleaner. Shoots really well. That gun, the recoil profile, because it's got the AK type spring rate in it, the recoil spring. It's soft. I mean, it's not harsh at all. And the 300 that we've got, it's like shooting a 22. Matt and I play with it pretty extensively, especially if you put a suppressor on it. It's a real sweet little gun.
So when is that going to be available?
It's the parts are in production, but everything's delayed. So if I told you 2 weeks, it'd be a lie. Because we don't know. I don't know for 100% sure, but it's imminent. I'd say within 30 days for sure. We at least wanted it for the holidays.
Okay. So I'm not from this planet's in the chat. He's an affiliate of you guys as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying what's up to you guys.
We was on his podcast about a month ago, I think.
Yep.
Cool guy.
And Clovertack's here too. He's telling me to smile more.
Now, I was out in the cold. I told Josiah I almost forgot about the podcast. We're getting ready. Ash Hess over at Knights Armament puts on a heck of a match. Quantified Performance. Look it up if you guys want to get into shooting. Well, his championship match is this weekend.
Okay.
And we try to do a video, share a little information with you here in a second. We're wrapping up some videos today, and while we're there, we test our guns. And this tropical storm Nicole thing came in about halfway through it, and just cold, wet, angry, muddy, stuck in the mud.
Oh, wow.
Cameras soaking wet, just everything you could think of. No warning whatsoever. So yeah, it's something. But did you see the last video of the 1,000-yard 5.56 shot that we posted?
No, I did not.
So a lot of the comments were people arguing with me about the ballistic efficiency of a 1,000-yard 5.56 shot, right?
Okay.
So we took a dummy. I had called Clear Ballistics, and this is fresh. This is hot off the press. I still haven't got the video yet, but I do have pictures. We took a Clear Ballistics FBI 10% gel dummy head,
right,
and did headshots at this dummy at 1,000 yards with the same ammo. I won't show everybody what the ballistic efficiency of a 77 grain 5.56 is. It was referred to as a bee sting. Now, I couldn't get anybody to go down range and be a target for me and prove that theory. So we had to get some ballistics gel and see. And to be honest with you, it did more than I thought it would. Because based off of my data, a 77 grain projectile muzzle velocity is 20, or it was 2850-ish, 27, high 27s, low 28.
Okay.
At 1,000 yards, it was showing about 980 to 1025, which is a 22. I mean, a small caliber 22, but you got a 77 grain projectile. Just to give you a little bit of a heads up, it had a 7-inch penetration pattern in ballistics gel.
Oh wow!
At 1,000 yards, it had a 7. I hit him right above the eyebrow, and it came out the back of his head. What it didn't do was expand, because at that rate, it was too slow to actually balloon.
Right.
The second shot hit and tumbled.
Okay.
So it cut a good. Either way,
He's dead.
I don't want to be shot with a 77 Crane 5.56 at 1,000 yards. We just proved it today.
Chad, you also had the big gummy bear.
I didn't shoot the gummy bear.
Yeah, you didn't shoot the gummy bear.
It's still in the bear.
So somebody asked, what's the price point going to be on that 300 Blackout Jackal?
It'll be around the same as the 5.56. There's no huge difference. I don't know. I think it's what, $10.99 design, something like that.
It is.
Okay.
There won't be any increase, I don't believe, above that. There will be. So I always get my hands on stuff. Jamin is the master of the black rifle. I'm the master of putting everything else on guns that don't belong. So there's going to be a rabid jackal that we came up with. It's going to be like multi FDE. We'll do some OD green, multi-cams, wild camouflage patterns. It's got an underbite. The jackal, the underbite of the handguard's a little different. Some of the controls are different, but it'll be kind of like a custom shop series of the jackal. There's pictures of it on the jackal page, the first one that I came up with, but around SHOT Show you'll see that too. So look for those. It's just like a higher end. We're trying to do the entry, mid, high tier stuff. The high tier, we've got some cool stuff in the works, but it'll supersede PSA Custom. PSA Custom will always be the custom shop. That's my baby. I started that several years ago, but we're going to try to get more into high-end production, production style. The custom stuff's one-offs, two-offs, small batch. We're trying to get into a higher-end, like the Rabid Jackal end up being a higher-end production-capable product line.
Gotcha.
Chad, what about the 9mm Jackal? Where's that at?
It's on the list. I mean, the list has got 50,000 things on it. I believe that was going to be everybody wants that gun for a 300 Blackout, right? We did it as 5.56 first because it was a little bit easier. That gun is what I would consider the absolute perfect platform for 300 Blackout. You can SBR it, 2-stamp, whatever you want to do. It's recoil profile's amazing, short barreled, easy to compact. You can throw it in a backpack. The 300 had to come next, and that's what their efforts have been on. And then the 9mm is going to require a bolt change. There's going to have to be some things that's going to be done differently. It's not a traditional bolt and extension configuration because your head spacing off of the case itself and the barrel profile is different. So it's still in the works. I think it's probably third or fourth on the list, but it'd be nice to do it. The PSA shotgun, I saw that come up. There's some interesting stuff with that too.
Interesting. Okay. Is that something we can talk about?
I mean, my dream is to have as a 3-gunner, shooting open, there's not a lot of options for box magazine fed 12 gauge shotguns. About the best one out there is based off an AK. So, that's been a conversation that I've had with Jamin on multiple occasions. There's two things that I want on the AKs, and they're hard to do: shotgun and SVD. I haven't got my way yet, but that's what I want: shotgun and SVD. I'm working. Believe me, I'm pushing as hard as they are for those two things.
All right.
And to answer Silverback's question, we will have a Jackal bundle once supply and demand catch up. We've got extra. We will do a Jackal bundle. Take a look.
I haven't seen a Rock and Dagger bundle deal. That's interesting.
No,
interesting concept. That may be something for Christmas. Who knows? And I tell you that Rock, that's the gun. If you would have told me 2 years ago, hey Chad, you're gonna fall in love with a 5.7, it's gonna be the coolest gun you own, and you're gonna shoot it a lot, I'd have told you he was lying. I didn't know I wanted it. When Jamin told me he was going to do it, I was like, I mean, it's just not something. It's not something that I cared for, honestly.
And you fell in love.
Man, dude, we play with that. I throw that gun in my range bag, and we get done playing or we're practicing or whatever match we got going on. All of my buddies shoot it. They love it.
Yeah.
Ammo's expensive right now until we start making it and get into that market, but.
That's going to be a great bundle. Our AAC 5.7 and the Rock.
It's a sweet, man. That's a sweet little gun, honestly.
So I've got the Rock, and I've been shooting the crap out of it. I just put 50 more rounds through it today, as a matter of fact. So that's got me at 350 rounds through it. I've let several people shoot it. everybody that's touched that gun has fell in love with it.
Yep.
I fell in love with it.
That's probably the best striker fired trigger of any striker fired gun that's out there.
That trigger is crazy.
The guy who designed that's a genius.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. He that's his trigger. He designed it, ground up, start to finish. That is a very, very, very clean trigger for a striker fired gun.
Yeah, I was working on a 300 round follow up video for that gun, and it was funny because earlier when you said you were getting into making 5.7, I kind of chuckled because in that video I specifically spoke to you guys and said, "Hey, PSA, can you please make us some affordable 5.7?"
That's on the list. I mean, it's definitely on the list for sure.
Yeah. That gun's amazing, man. It shoots really, really flat.
And we don't have. And when I say we don't have them come back for repair work, that they rarely ever have I seen one of those guns come back.
Yeah,
that thing was released and went out, and we just.
See, when I first saw it was I think it was SHOT Show 2020.
Probably.
Let me tell you, that SHOT Show 2020, the first time any of us who were there knew anything about that gun was when we pulled it out of the crate as we were unloading guns. None of us knew about it. We were like, what the hell is this? And so it was kept very, very close to the chest, and we didn't know anything about it. But I've fallen in love with it too. It's very soft shooting, very accurate. It's a great gun.
Yeah,
I knew he was working on it, but he just kind of, Jason went in the room and came out with a gun. That's really what happened.
Yep.
Gotcha. So when I saw it, the first thing I said was I gotta shoot that gun. And then when we went to the gathering, I got to shoot the gun. I was looking for the Jackal, but apparently y'all kept the Jackal in the closet until the last day, and we were already going to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
I missed it. I was like, man,
if you got us, we could have pulled it out. It was Matt took it back or took it with him and couldn't come back on time or something. There was something. I don't remember the exact story behind it, but we had it out the next day and we put, I think, 7,800 rounds through it.
7,800? Like 7,800?
Yeah, those guns got shot to death. We had a lead star. One of our heliums, I think, went through 6 cases of 5.56.
Damn. Really?
Yeah, we were shooting.
I helped unload the ammo. He is correct.
We had a machine too that was, you throw ammo in it and let it load. It's a godsend, really. But yeah, there was a lot of ammo. We shot it. It was free. I mean, people would come back and stay all day in the booth and shoot, and we didn't care. I mean, let them do it, have fun.
Man, they cheated me at media day. He would only let me do like 1 mag.
Oh, really? All you gotta do is turn around and come back. I mean, some of the stuff like 300 blackout and whatnot, we limited, but the 5.56, I think the last day specifically when we figured out how much ammo we had left, we let people shoot.
So are y'all gonna be doing a 5.7 version of the Jackal or AR or anything?
All that's in the Jackal. I don't know if you could do it with an AK. You could do it with an AR with a little work. I'd like to see a Jackal type upper that's compatible with just a standard lower. I think that's very doable. Using our mags, of course, and then the sky's the limit with the rest of it. People want that magazine compatibility where you go from pistol to rifle,
right?
But all that's been brought up. I don't know on the list where the 5.7 Jackal kind of ranks, but it's definitely in part of a lot of conversations.
What? So Kovacic said, has there been any movement on the HR line happening?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's working on it now. Those parts are slow to get. Like when you start picking up the traditional, the carry handle upper receivers and that kind of thing, that's not something that people just have lying around. And Wetland, he's a let's call him a perfectionist. He hand deburrs every part when it comes off the machine.
Interesting.
Hand deburrs every part that comes off the machines.
Yeah, that's
So,
somebody that takes pride in their work.
and then he personally picks the anodize. He personally picks the whatever coating he's using, whatever materials he's using. Every bit of what he is a walking encyclopedia of stuff that I don't care to know about. But he's being funny. He and I have a lot of good conversations. But he is, when I say clone correct, the finishes you can't. Some of the stuff that was parkerized back in the day, you can't do that. But they do have an anodization. It looks like parkerization. The colors, the hues, everything he wants to be clone correct. That said, it takes a little longer to get his stuff out than anybody else's.
Yeah.
So he's got we slowed down in Lead Star. Competition's coming to an end. That's kind of our niche. We're doing that in law enforcement. We do a lot of law enforcement recently with Lead Star. Budgets usually hit around January, February. So we're moving over those. The Lead Star builders are used to building the high end $2,000 to $4,000 guns, right?
Right.
Those assets will be used to do the H&R stuff.
Okay.
So, during the holidays when that stuff's going to get popular. So we let the Lead Star guys build ahead. They got kind of ramped up in production, and we moved them over to help Wetland do his H&R line. So you'll start, I'd say closer to Thanksgiving, you'll start seeing some stuff come in. I'd like to see, I personally want one of the A1 H&R stamp receiver sets personally. I'd love to make a rifle, true rifle stock H-bar style H&R stamped M16 replica. But
a lot of people are asking for those A1s, but Mike's just talking to him. He said a lot of guys already have a lot of the parts. He's like, we're getting parts out there. We're getting the upper receiver sets. A lot of guys already have some of the things they want to put on there. So he's starting out with, he's got the uppers, the lowers. He's going to slowly introduce more parts, but eventually it's going to be the complete gun.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's movement on it. But again, these things are going to be, if you have somebody on the internet on YouTube with a flaw, it's going to surprise me because he's watching he's overseeing every one of these guns built. They'll be small batch and they'll be a little bit more expensive. You'll pay for it, but if you're wanting a clone correct H&R stamped rifle, you're going to get a clone correct H&R stamped rifle.
Okay. Now I got a question. This thing is like a unicorn. I've seen it one time.
Mm-hmm.
SHOT Show 2020. Y'all
No.
have something that looks like a MP5.
No.
Not happening?
No. That historically, I'll be honest with you, I wish that thing would have never.
Yeah. Never should have been shown.
It should have never been shown. It should have never came out of the office. It was a question. We're not going to produce that platform until we can make it affordable. It's not going to benefit you, me, or anybody else if that gun's $1,600, $1,700. There's a reason why Germany quit making that gun. It's got a huge following. It's amazing. People love it. It's awesome. They're still using them in some SWAT teams, and it's probably the best sub 9mm gun in existence. But it's a butt to put together, and the parts are intricate, and the extractors fail easy. There's just a lot of things that the extractor springs, that's a known break point for those things. There's a lot of things that you'd have to do to change. It's just the expense of it was just too much to bear, really.
And instead of putting tens of millions of dollars into making that happen, my brother he decided to put that into the AAC ammunition line. I think that was a wise call.
Well, there's some, if you start talking about the AAC line, probably the best investment we've made. There's a lot of things in ammo that people don't understand. I'm not going to stomp all over other people's business, but when you have monopolies controlling production, you can control flow, right? You got to break that up, and the thing that you'll see us doing, like me I'm heavily involved with ammo stuff. Those guys are amazing, and we have a great mutual relationship. I'm over there talking to those guys all the time. Some of the stuff that I work on, the target ammo, the 55 grain stuff was great. straight out of the gate. And, if you get MOA out of MOA and a half out of a good 55 grain load, in my opinion, you won, right?
Right.
We went back and forth literally, we've been going back and forth for probably a month, tweaking the 77 load that came out because I wanted it to be I've got a proofed gun that I know is half MOA, that I have a reload that I can go 0.3 to 0.4 consistently at 100 yards. I wanted that ammo to be 0.5 to 0.6 from the factory at 100 yards.
Okay.
And after about 4 different loads, changes, the speed, I had a certain speed I wanted it to be at. First couple of iterations of it, it was below 2,600. We moved it up. I wanted it to be closer to 2,750 to 2,800. Some people say 29 is too fast for a 77. You have spin drift. There's just all kinds of issues.
Right.
The sweet spot was about 27.5 to 2,800. And that's what we shot the 1,000 yard. 3 on a 10-inch plate at 1,000 yards. I put 3 out of 5 on it.
Okay.
So that ammo is worth way more than Jamin selling it for. I think he's asking $9.99 a box for it. I mean, the closest equivalent that you have to that is Sig Elite or Black Hills.
Yeah.
And I've got performance data that I've done myself. I don't have a dog in the AAC fight. Everybody has to understand that. I can go to their operations manager and yell at him just like I'm a customer, like you would. That's not I'm in PSA. I'm actually grading his homework, right?
Gotcha.
So if I don't like it, I'm gonna tell him I don't like it. I don't care. Jamin wants me to be that way. That's just the way it is. That's 77. I've got 3 gunners that's moving over to it. I've got Ash Hess. I sent him some. He's on tested. He could potentially shoot. He's a great guy. He has a lot to do with nights. I mean, there's a lot of people that once you provide this stuff at an affordable rate and it's accurate, it actually works as designed. That's going to turn the market up. Like it changes the way people promote and sell their product.
Right.
If we can do what you do, a couple $5 less per 20.
Right.
People's going to have to step up. And when I always say internet lures, it's bull, right?
Right.
I'm always being told that I can't shoot 1,000 or you can't do this or no competition guys use PSA. No competition guys do that from people who don't compete. Right.
Right.
It's a common thing. So I don't know. These guys they're producing a product that I believe is solid and I trust in it. If you get people that are moving over to it that do this every weekend and rely on it, nobody's going to risk a $500 match fee on a piece of, a round that doesn't work.
Right.
And me and myself and 2 other guys run one of the biggest matches a couple months back. It's called the Pro-Am. Donnie Flo does it, stage 0. And it's a couple hundred people at a 3-gun match, which is pretty big, expensive. Every one of us did well with it. We were shooting AAC 55 grain ammo. The whole AAC 124s, and I was shooting AAC 124 9mm and 55 grain at 300, 400, and 500 yards.
It amazes me how many people don't know that AAC is a house brand for you guys.
It's it's JJE. It's a separate company.
It's a sister company to PSA.
It's a sister company. Yeah, it's part of the JJE family.
So,
but they have a me over there.
Gotcha. So everybody associated anything that JJE owns is going to be it's automatically associated with PSA.
Well, it has to be. they can pump her chest up all they want to, but we pay their bills.
So I had the pleasure of shooting some of the AAC ammo.
That's good.
And, it was about a week ago. He's actually in the chat right now. A gentleman named Rick. He had some of our shot, and I was like, "Man, this ammo is nice.
It's legit." I mean, I'm just being honest. I wouldn't put my name or anything associated with it. I wouldn't go to a match with it if it wasn't any good.
Yeah.
That's the truth. You can't risk a loss or, driving and gas and, whatever, travel. We fly out to Texas. I shot it at Kalash Bash, actually. You don't do that if you don't feel strongly enough about a product that it works. And I told Jamin from the beginning, I said, if this stuff works, it's great. I'll shoot it every match. I'll hand it out. I've been giving boxes of 20 out to guys that I compete with or whatever. And there's a lot of guys that sending me messages. I just got one earlier from a guy in Texas that I shoot Clash Bash with. He sent me a group. It was 0.7 inches at 100 yards. Well, I mean,
Oh, nice.
What more do you want out of a box of $10 77 grain?
Yeah,
and right now we're using Sierra, which I've reloaded for years. Sierra Match Kings, OTM. That's what we're using. That's the projectile we're using. So you're getting a
match grade bullet.
You're getting a match grade bullet at 28 same feet per second as all the other match grade ammo, and you're paying 40 cents a round for it. I think, Josiah. What was the cost? 60.
About 50
cents a round. I mean, it's ridiculous. The cheapest thing, even close to that performance, is $1.
Wow. Now, when somebody said something about y'all had subsonic 300 blackout.
We do. We did supers first, and then we've got the 220. There's a 220, I think, coming out shortly.
Okay.
And then we released. I can't remember the other sub that we had a couple weeks ago. But they are trickling out.
Okay, yeah, because I was on the website and I was looking for it. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it probably went out of stock. The 77s and the 300 blackouts went out of stock almost immediately.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. He's saying something about the SVD, please.
Believe me, man. Earlier, if you'd have heard me, I'd harp on that all the time. 2 things I want: SVD, shotgun. I want a 6.5 Creedmoor SVD so bad I can't stand it. I've almost called Brandon Herrera to see if he can make it happen.
You know he can.
It may blow up, but we'll do
it. So 8.6 black. Is there anything coming with 8.6 blackout?
Not right now. We jump. My competitive circle and the industry jumps on cartridges like pit bulls on a steak, right? I mean, that's just it's what in a 45 gap. Who shoots that anymore? 357 Sig. Nobody shoots that anymore. 224 Valkyrie didn't really do what it was intended to do. I don't like 6.5 Grendel, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people do. I've just never. I've tested 7 different barrels and never got better than 2 MOA with great ammo. I don't think we need to jump all in on a caliber that is hard to get. It's expensive. Not a lot of people's building guns for it. I mean, if we need to, eventually we will, but I don't know. The 350 Legends and things, that stuff comes through and you sell 100 of them and that's it. But to be able to be a production the way we produce, you at least want 1,000 barrels, right? Or 2,000 barrels. You want a day's production, half a day's production.
Right.
5,000 350 Legend barrels would last us probably 4, 5, 6 months, maybe. It's just not something that sells real great. And I think that's going to be the same way. It's a hot new caliber. On my long range DMR PRS type side, 6 GT, 6 BR, all these rounds come out that burn barrels up in 2,000 rounds. You see them, they come, they go. Some of them stick, and some of them go right back to 6.5 Creedmoor because it's more cost effective. It's just now the ARC, the 6mm arc's the big thing. 6mm Creedmoor is a big thing. It's we don't respond immediately to those anymore because we spent so much time, effort, energy on the Valkyrie, and it was complaint after complaint. Those guns just didn't perform like they thought they were.
Yeah, I actually built a 12.5 and a 10.5 224 Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold the 12.5. The guy that has it, he shoots it all the time. He's doing like MOA groups, 200 yards.
Well, and they are accurate. They were sold to be MOA at 1,200 yards. That was the big push behind the Valkyrie. It was close. It was like all these things have roots within a couple cartridges, right? All the 6mm stuff that comes out, it's all variations of a 243 most of the time. That's a 22-250 was a 22-224 Valkyrie, basically. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at the ballistically and the projectile and whatnot, it's supposed to be a 1,000-yard gun.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take my 5.56 1,000 yards any day, and that's the way that gun performs too. So what did I gain from it? What, two mils of elevation? It really didn't. It didn't justify the cost and the extra stuff associated with changing to another caliber for an incremental increase in accuracy, in my opinion. That's why it hadn't taken off. And not to get on a tangent about all that, but we're just not quick to jump on brand new calibers really quick.
Yeah, I like 6 ARC. I built a 6 ARC too.
They're sharp. They're sharp, but they're expensive. And you can't hardly find ammo.
Yeah, and when you find it, it's like $30 a box.
$30 a box. My shooting partner, when we shoot matches, we'll go to, if there's 4 different divisions, 4 of us will jump in each division, so we're not competing against each other. We're just kind of spreading the love out for the company. And he's on the 6mm ARC bus. My other shooting buddy's on the 6mm Creedmoor bus, and they love them. I mean, it's awesome, but you can't. I mean, hell, it's $500 to go shoot a match for the ammo cost.
Yeah. Nobody can really afford that. No, well, you're paying $500 for the match, and then you're gonna spend $200-300 in ammo for the match.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna run over to AC and get a bucket of 5.56 and show up.
So, is there anything, any surprises that we could like get a sneak peek, an exclusive on?
I don't know if there's any major surprises going on right now. The everything. I mean, we've pretty much shot on just about everything that's coming out except for the SHOT Show stuff, which we really can't. We don't really want to go into because it's a surprise for that. The live streaming and whatnot. We'll do some introductory stuff, but keep watching for AK variants. We'll have a lot of that going on. Cameron hangs out in the AK community and responds well to what they need, what they want, what they need to, if we need to clone something, because the Russia stuff's dead. You can't get any of that anymore.
Right.
You'll continue to see that stuff coming out, in mass. The subcompact gun will be out pretty soon. A lot of stuff will come out around Thanksgiving holidays. We do have custom 1911s, by the way. The guy just asked that.
Yeah.
We do small batch. The guy that hand makes those pretty much was out for a couple weeks. He's back. You'll see some more. But, you'll continue to see us launch small projects, over the course of the next, couple months until we get up to SHOT Show. But the big push will be SHOT Show. We'll have Jamin said he wanted to have a big, like the biggest SHOT Show we've ever had this year, and that's what we're planning on with different releases. So we don't want to spoil that yet.
So do I need to get on the calendar or something? Because it's not going to be at y'all's booth for a while.
Last year, I'm going to be honest, it's not just me. I'm not talking the company up or bragging or whatever, but like we couldn't breathe. I mean, we literally, there was times when I had to pull Logan out. Because she's awesome. She manages all of us, which is terrible. I can only imagine. But we had to pull off to the side and just be quiet for like 5 or 10 minutes because it was so overwhelming. Yeah. It felt like 1,000 people in the booth at any given time. So about halfway through the SHOT Show, I said, let's go take a walk. Let's just go see how everybody else is doing. Let's just go talk to some people and see if they're getting beat up too, right? There's nobody. Like I didn't see any booths that were anywhere near as full as we were. Mm-hmm. So we'll continue to play off that. I get pulled away a lot for podcasts and conversations and interviews and meetings or whatever. I try to work in the booth as much as I can, and that was the biggest amount of people I'd ever dealt with at any of these conferences, even NRA, which is full of everyday walk of life people.
Right.
We were slammed.
Well, I want to go to SHOT Show for the experience, but I look for it after going to the gathering this past one. I'm looking more at that than anything going forward because
you get, and we'll start doing some releases. I've talked to Jamin. So he's a traditional SHOT Show guy. He loves the SHOT Show stuff. He sees the value in it, just like I see the value in it. But if we're going to get and promote our own show, so to speak, we got to save some of the releases for the gathering. right?
Right.
There needs to be a draw, and I think other companies, some of the big three gave more money to us than they did SHOT Show last year. SIG pulled completely out of the SHOT Show, but committed to us because it was outdoors and it was a lot cheaper for them. But they were that could have been the SIG gathering if we wanted it to be. I mean, they were 100% on board with anything that we wanted to do. So they're good. Like that type of event just kind of helps everybody, right? I think you're right. You'll enjoy that more than walking around the stuffiness of SHOT.
Yeah, I had a good time at SHOT. I'm a new manufacturer myself.
Mm-hmm.
So we at the gathering, I was able to link up with people like Thrill USA and stuff like that,
Yep.
and network some stuff.
Right.
I got to try out different products that people had coming out. I got to try out pretty much you all's full product line,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I was like, okay. So
yeah. So the bigger guys are going to continue. They love it. I've had, I think SIG and Glock on the way out the door last year was like, we want this next year. Send us a bill. We're good. It was guaranteed in. Just because it's so unique. It's such a. I think all of us, like you'll see the gun companies that are like gun people. Some gun companies aren't gun people.
Right.
The ones that have gun people like really want to be out with the consumer and engaging and talking and putting it in their hands, because it doesn't matter what another CEO of another company thinks about what we're doing. It don't. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's cool if somebody gives you a compliment. They don't like it, okay, whatever.
Right.
But the person that matters is the guy that isn't in the industry, that works hard for a living and wants to come out and enjoy it and spend money with you. And I'd rather go have a beer with him than anybody else. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel about it. I was a PSA customer before I was an employee, so I get it. But like I say, I think going back to that, I think those events are going to be crucial for our industry, and you'll see a bigger trend. I'm already seeing other companies jump on that bandwagon and kind of copy. We were the first. Affiliates did it quite a bit. I think Iraq Vet 8888 did one for a while and that kind of thing. But I think we were the first big company to embrace a outdoor event with shooting, not just a dog and pony show, with actual live fire. Right. And we're starting to see more people kind of follow the lead on that.
Well, you all did it big, and it was an excellent event.
Thank you.
And I look forward to the next one.
She does a good job. There's no doubt about it. That was all Logan.
Yeah. And the name of the range kind of threw me off at first. I was like, man, I don't really like that name.
Clinton House. Clinton House.
But when I got there, everybody was super nice. And,
he's purchased another 1,000 or 1,500 acres. That place.
2,000.
Yeah, that place is going to be a premier shooting facility. There's talks of government stuff. There's talks of shoot houses. There's talks of towers. The stuff that we're doing, and Mike Sex and I have a big part of the shooting piece of that. We've known them forever, and they come to their sporting clays and hunting and stuff like that. But on the shooting side, we do all the matches down there. And we got a lot of input. We had a lot of input on the way the gathering. He basically did that range for the gathering because he wanted it. And we didn't have enough bay space, so he cut 15 bays.
Okay.
Now we've got some jungle run stuff. We got there's just all kinds of things that we're doing down there. He will end up being one of the premier shooting facilities in the Southeast before it's over. He's that dedicated to it.
Okay. I know I got to meet Suits while I was there. I know he shoots there.
Yep. He shoots there. That's his home. We see him quite a bit, in a bay, hemmed up, doing his thing.
Okay. Well, I'm definitely going to come down there and check it out again, because that was an excellent time. And your store down there, I went to the one in Greenville.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that store is crazy.
Yeah, you need to get Josiah to do a tour, and we do a lot of. I beg affiliates. I'm working with Grand Thumb. I've talked to Clayco. Clayco actually came and shot AK Masters. There's a lot of affiliates, but I encourage them to come shoot with us, right? Like you could time a weekend or something and come do a little match with us or whatever. We need to get more people in the shooting sports. So I think that helps promote the whole idea of it, right? And I think there's some intimidation or there may be some hesitation or whatever, but we've got like a lot of entry. For instance, coming up in December, you got the Winter Motherland AK match, which is 7 stages. We make it fairly easy. It's kind of gimmicky. AK people love to, hit it with your purse and pulling Santa Claus, and I mean it's fun, right? Then that night we're going to do a night shoot. A lot of people don't get to shoot at night, and you can't really talk about what you would use in a nighttime self-defense situation unless you pull a trigger at night because it's different.
Yeah.
The things that you would put, my initial things and impressions that I had on what a night shoot was and what I was going to go shoot with changed one shoot. My light changed, my setup changed, everything. Because there's things that you don't even realize that'll happen, and we want to give people that experience. So, yes, it's a match, but it's also a way to get an experience that you normally wouldn't be allowed to have because most ranges don't let you shoot at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
With nods or white light.
Yeah, I've got some guys that he's actually in the chat right now. They had mentioned me setting up a night shoot here in Nashville.
It's fun. If you're in Nashville and you want to do matches, one of my great friends, and he's on Team PSA, probably one of the best shooters in Tennessee, to be honest with you. His name's Tony Martin. If you ever need help with stage setup or questions or anything like that, I can get you in touch with him. He does a lot of Steel Challenge, 2-gun, PCC.
Okay.
Anything that's got a trigger, and he's kind of like we are. We try to. When people ask what I shoot, I say yes, because we do it all but cowboy action. And if you ever need any assistance or anything like that, please reach out on my behalf. I know Tony will be glad to do it.
Okay.
He'd help you in a second. And if you've got a shop or whatever, and you got a range you can do it on, it's a good little income generator because you don't make a lot of money on the match, but what you do is sell them ammo and targets or whatever to practice, right? So I mean, the match piece of it, it's really just for fun. I mean, you're not going to become rich unless you're doing a major match.
Right.
But your ancillary sales on all that stuff, that's where you get your payoff. And you also introduce somebody to something they didn't know they could do, or something, a new sport.
Yeah, I'm interested in the night shooting myself. I'm gonna start hunting, and I've been trying to go hunting. And every time I try and get with somebody that does hunt, they're like, oh yeah, we'll take it. I think they don't take me serious, but I'm dead serious. I want to go hunting.
If you ever if you can get a tour down here or whatever you decide to do, so that's what Clinton House is, and we don't shoot a deer, we don't shoot a turkey because that's our bread and butter, and we don't do the ducks. That's their thing. But like coyotes and hogs, we've got at will. We've been in the middle of a 3-gun match before, and a coyote run across the hill and somebody'd shoot it. I mean, it's that because coyotes kill the crop.
That's funny because that's exactly what I've been trying to hunt.
Yeah, we run thermals. Don't do night vision. Don't waste your time. Been there, done that. Bought a shirt. If you're going to do it, run thermals, and you need to do an experience with somebody who's got that stuff first before you spend the $4,000 or whatever to do that right. You'll spend $2,000 on a night vision scope and not be happy. I mean, it's just IR. It's not the way to go.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to get together.
I mean, the good thing about us in the industry, and that's why we're trying to do more videos like the 77 video. I don't think we as an industry do enough to educate, right? So I'm like agnostic when it comes to night vision. We sell everything, or we can get access to everything. So I'm going to tell you what my experience is with it, right? If you want to shoot within 50 yards, traditional inexpensive IR, it's okay, right? But like some of the $2,000 and $3,000 thermals, they're really good. I mean, for what you're wanting to do now, you can get up into $8,000, $10,000, $20,000 stuff that you'll probably never get your money's worth out of.
Right.
There's a couple brands in there that the thermals are legit, and up to 300 yards, you can get really good shots downrange. So, and we need to do. I think we need to do more of that and have those conversations with people so they don't spend money that they don't necessarily need.
He said, "Tell them about clip-on thermal."
I still use gun mounted. To me, it's easier, but the clip-on thermals are that's the hot thing right now, for sure.
Yeah.
And nods. I don't know. There's a lot of people. There was a class in Clinton House 2 weeks ago, and people were striking $13,000 checks. I mean, PBS 13's $13,000. You know, I mean, it's
yeah. I can think of a lot of guns I'd rather buy with 13,000 and some nods.
And it's not everybody that I've ever seen win a night shoot did it with white light. If I were in a firefight and I wasn't like on a seek and destroy mission in the military, right? If I'm not recon or whatever, because it's amazing to do that stuff with. Some of the technology is awesome. But until they actually integrate thermals with their night vision, which will be a next generation, we've talked to some guy that's working on that, you can't hardly identify a target. Like you can put somebody 30 yards, 40 yards down range with something in their hand and you don't know what it is. You could be shooting a guy with a stick.
Yeah. Yeah.
You hit a white light with them, they're blind, and you know what the hell you're dealing with.
So Santa just dropped y'all's link. Hey Santa, make sure you drop my link to them. It went off my page.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
if you come out here, well, if you could come out here, maybe if you come during the gathering or something, we could do something one night, or just at least I can take you around the property. There was one night I took 4 people around with an ATNX site and showed them, once you get that thing configured, there's a couple little things that a rep showed me to do. Once you get it configured right, it's good stuff. For the price point, it's good stuff. And I don't do it enough to spend anything over $2,000 or $3,000 on a thermal. It's just not worth it. But I would tell you I'd spend the extra $1,000 over a night vision.
Now, didn't y'all do a night shoot at the gallery? Wasn't there a night shoot like that Friday or something?
We kind of did. It was dusk shoot.
Okay. Cause see, I came the first day, and then she had booked us reservations in Myrtle Beach. So after we did media day, we ended up driving on down to Myrtle Beach.
We did one at Snipers Unknown Challenge a couple of weekends ago at Clinton House, and it didn't start till like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We weren't done till midnight. It was legit. They cut off all the lights. It was you didn't see the stage until you walked into the box with a light.
Oh wow. Okay, so yeah, let's say when I come down there for the gathering, let's try and get together then.
Yeah, we'll do something. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I don't get Josiah to get you over there to me, and we'll ride around and do some stuff.
Okay, and I might be able to get down there before then. I'm not sure, but I'll try. I'll let you know if I can.
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah. Anytime, let me know. I'll hook you guys up.
Yeah, man. And as far as like keeping up with you guys, where would they go to keep up with you guys on social media and stuff like that?
So we got Palmetto State Army Handguns Group, Palmetto State Army AK Owners Group, Palmetto State Army AR-15 Owners Group.
These are on Facebook.
Yeah, all those. And there's a couple Instagram, Palmetto State Army Official. For our matches, we got Carolina Shooters Group, which is ran by me and Mike Sexton, who runs Leadstar. I mean, we're all over the place, man. If you put Palmetto State Army in a search bar of a social media site, we're there.
Yeah. We do a lot on AR15.com too. That's where the company kind of got our start.
AR15.com?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Josiah handles that. I'm not a fool.
Yeah. So me as a new manufacturer, if I wanted to, I guess we talked about it on the backside, but like, how's it that you all work with all these other companies with distributing their products? Do you all just do the distribution like a drop ship, or are you all actually buying that product?
The only way we drop ship, if you get into it's just the drop shipping's hard to manage when you got 90,000 SKUs. So like if you're in a buy group like RSR or somebody like that, that's the easiest way to drop ship through us because we have a data plug-in between their system and our system.
Okay.
So you sell to RSR, they maintain the inventory, or they maintain the relationship of the drop ship with you. We just maintain a relationship with us and them.
Okay.
So that's the easiest way to drop ship. Now, normally on some of the smaller companies, JMac, for instance, we've helped with him a lot. He does great stuff. Got a great relationship both ways. We consume his products either OEM or on the web, so we buy them and resell them. That's not as we don't do that as much as we used to anymore because most of the products that we sell are drop ship capable.
Right.
But it has we try to do the other stuff, the traditional type sales more
Gotcha.
or less than we normally did.
Gotcha. I definitely want to keep
if you've got something, I mean, what are you manufacturing? What's the
ARs?
Okay.
Yeah.
You got your own line, like your own variants and all that, or Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I got a variance and everything. I'm actually in the process of getting all that updated because I just moved.
Oh yeah.
So I had to do an amendment for the address.
Yeah, you got like 30 days on either side, I think.
Yeah, it's been a minute. They've got it updated on the ATF sites. They just haven't sent me the paper copy.
Right.
Nobody will move on anything until I get the paper in the hand.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, when you get that stuff, pass it over to Josiah. We help, even if it was like one per store to see what what kind of response we get out of it, or a couple on the website. We don't mind doing that.
Okay.
Especially with affiliates. I mean, that's just the relationship has to be both ways, or it's not going to work.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, you guys making some crazy products out here. Y'all putting stuff out. The 5.7, man, I'm in love with it.
Believe me, I didn't even know I wanted it.
So everybody's been excited, and I hear people ask all the time, how are they producing stuff like the bundle y'all got with the 5.7? What is it? The 5.7 with threaded barrel, optic ready, and 10 extra mags. $5.99. So
we own the manufacturing of most of it. That's the thing is the cost when you don't have all that extra. That's Jamin. The first thing he explained to me was the PSA success story, which is the old traditional big gun store company would go from manufacturing to distributor to dealer to you. So let's say it's 15% each way, 15. By the time it gets to you, there's 45% markup in that product.
Right.
That's why normal people, when I was growing up in the 80s, my mom and stepdad didn't have a ton of money really. And we would go to the gun range. I had a little 10-22 and he had a 30-30 that he deer hunted with or whatever. And I'd always see the guys with ARs and they were like, whoa, he's got an AR-15. And I remember my stepdad going like, it was like $1,700. And that was in the 90s.
Yeah.
They weren't $1,700. I mean, they were, but they only had about $350 in them. And it was just a prestige thing. And if you go back, if you delve deep down in the history of that, they sold them high on purpose so not the normal man could get them. And that's a true statement. They didn't want everybody having AR-15s. There's a lot of people that did not want that to happen. And people like Jamin and other companies before them, Bushmaster, DPMS, they blew up when competitors got their hands on them. Of course, that kind of pushed them up into the limelight. And then Jamin found the ability to mass produce them, and that was at the core of the company. What the whole passing off freedom is about. It's important to us to be able to be affordable.
Right. And how is this market like? So I know our store had a very, very good year in 2020 and 2021.
It sucks right now.
Now it's tapered off.
It ain't tapered off. It's hit the damn ceiling floor. It's I don't. There's a lot of stuff. I don't want to get into a big political rant or anything because I can do that. Jamie and I talk frequently about politics. He feels a lot like I do. But you got the recession. There's a money problem. It's costing people more to fill their tanks. And our customer base they're middle class, guys that's feeding their families, sometimes paycheck to paycheck, small savings or whatever. If you're paying 100% more. I mean, what was gas? A couple 199 4 years ago, and now it's
Yeah.
creeping up to $455. If you're $55,000 a year income family and you've doubled your gas prices, you got a moderate drive to work, let's say 30 miles. Groceries has gone up at least 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
If you add that income up, over the course of a month, what we've seen 2 years ago and what we're seeing now, basically everybody took a pay cut of probably $15,000 a year.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
and ammo and guns are not they're really for self-defense and fun, right? For
Right.
self-defense, and you use them to go shoot and enjoy and collaborate and all that.
Right.
But if you can't go have fun and go have range days and get with your boys and shoot beer cans and do that kind of thing because you can't get gas for your truck, then you're not going to buy guns. And I think that's what we're seeing is, unless you have something that's really cool around the $500 range, you're not making a lot of money right now. And that's what we're hearing across the industry based on the people we're talking to.
Yeah.
A lot of the big Lead Star hasn't sold a $2,000. We were selling PCCs, the high end PCCs, probably 2 or 3 a week at one point, and it died. I mean, a lot of that's got to do with the end of the season washdown. People will run a gun for a season and switch next year. We'll see a push, but last year people were buying them for Thanksgiving, holidays, and Christmas, and we're not seeing that. So I think the biggest hesitation is the economy, and then you've got ammo's increased in prices a little bit because we've taken all the Russian ammo out of circulation, right?
Right.
And then you've got Congress. What's going to happen to the pistol bases? What's going to happen if, let's say, we don't maintain control or something happens or whatever? We don't know what the 2-year push is going to be for them to regain the control, right, for the presidency. And one of the biggest platforms that was ran on during the Democrat race was firearms. They're up until Biden, they didn't touch gun control with a 10-foot pole because it lost them 8 years worth of presidencies. The last time they attempted it, but I think now they've got the support. At least a lot of the smaller portions of the country that tend to vote Democrat, they especially in the upper Northeast, they've got some of the toughest gun laws in the world.
Yeah. Northeast and out west.
East and upper Northeast and severe out west. They've highest crime rates and toughest gun laws in the world. And just the common man just can't. I don't It's like this thing with Fetterman in Pennsylvania. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't. I can't. Like I couldn't go to the. Okay, he's a PA guy. Hillary wasn't a New York person. I don't know. But there's this. I think Trump did a lot of that, but the parties. Trump did good for while he was there, but there's certain demographics of people that just they're not going to support him, even if they are moderate. So,
yeah,
it's unfortunate. I liked the guy when he was in presidency because I had good gas prices. My 401k was going up. The economy was great, but nobody gives a crap about that. He was a mean tweeter. So,
yeah.
Now we got to move on, I guess. But I think that's the hesitation that you're going to see, that I'm going to see, that we're going to continue to see out throughout the year is what's coming next. Maybe the election results, when they finalize, they'll settle some of that now. Maybe they won't. But the money situation is not going to go away. We're seeing. I think the interest rate's up now, 7.99.
Yeah, I think they said on a 30-year it's 7.
People's not going. The housing market's tanking. I mean, it's you can't go have fun and buy guns and shoot ammo when you're about to pay 8% on a house tax and your gas is up, $2 a gallon.
When you're unsure, I think it's one word is unsure. People are unsure about the future, and when that happens, everything else they back off of, and you just focus on the essentials.
You got to hoard cash. I mean, you got to have cash on hand for Christmas. Christmas is coming up. Thanksgiving sales are coming up. Yeah. Usually we slow off up until Thanksgiving Day, and it picks up, on Black Friday. Because me as a consumer, I look at it 2 ways. I'm not a mega millionaire or anything like that, so I have to watch my money just like everybody else. And I wouldn't go buy I had to go buy some appliances the other day, unfortunately, but they did give me the Black Friday special. So I would be hesitant to buy anything until Black Friday because you're going to get a couple $100 savings on a big purchase. So naturally, you're not going to go out and spend a lot of money the 1st of November if you know you're going to go, spend your Christmas load on Black Friday.
But the problem is like the Black Friday deals now. It's basically going back to normal price.
It is.
You're not really getting a deal. You're paying what it normally costs.
You're right, especially on electronics. I don't know if you had to buy electronics or anything lately, but it's stupid.
Yeah, I just moved a couple months ago, so I had to get a new TV and washer and dryer and stuff.
Everything went up.
Yeah. Everything is stupid right now, man.
Yep. I need a truck, but I'm not stupid enough to buy one because they're 50. There's a guy down the road with a 2013 Toyota Tundra with 48,000 miles on it. He's wanting like $28,000 for
it. Yeah. The people that come in our store, they look at when they come in. They used to come in and you could just be like, "Hey, this is the greatest gun ever made," and they're like, "Okay, cool, I'll take 2."
Yep.
And now they come in and they're like, "All right, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm spending.
Yep.
What can you get me in that price range?"
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And so I try and get them.
Well, they're buying guns like they buy a car, like you buy a car, right? You got to look at the price range and not the product, and that's an unfortunate byproduct of the economy we're in.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully things will start looking up, man. And it just right now it's a little sketchy, And I decided I started this company at a bad time, I think.
Well, it's hard to establish a name in a down market. I mean, that's the Palmetto State Armory got lucky. He's a great businessman, but there's a little bit of boom that happened, and you had somebody with a lot of desire and a lot of drive that took advantage of it completely, and that's how PSA got to be. But I don't think you'd be if you were to start PSA today. I don't know that you'd be as successful as it is right now.
I think it still would because
I think it's
hard to beat.
It'd be tough though because you wouldn't be able to do those prices because you wouldn't control your destiny. You couldn't control your manufacturing. The reason PSA is so successful right now is because they control the manufacturing. We've got our own. We're at arm's length to get whatever we need, and you don't have to control. You don't have to bicker over price, and you set the price.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If you were to start it from scratch right now, I don't think it would be. It'd be tough because if nobody's buying anything, you can't establish your name. Right? If you can't get people consuming your products to go on YouTube or go on Facebook and talk about how great you are or whatever, all you're doing is talking to a blank face. So it's tough.
For smaller companies, it's really hard because where y'all can probably get away with $300-$400 to build an AR and sell it for $800-$900. We can't. Right. It's going to cost me $800-$900 to build a gun.
Right.
Because I can't.
And say that the fear is my fear has always been the mom and pop stores because as mom and pop stores start going away, where are we going to ship guns?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. Because a lot of the big stores are not really gonna do it.
Nope.
I know our store we get a lot of y'all's products in. We get at least 10 to 20 of y'all's guns coming through our store a week.
Yeah.
So,
and that the transfer fees help keep some of these little shops open, and there's some small shops that hate us because we our pricing or whatever, but it's kind of silly. All you gotta do is call, and we do the same thing for smaller shops. We don't want to see. I don't want to see small. I love small shops. We got one TK Outdoors that we support all the time in Spartanburg. I think the world of that little shop. Little shops are the backbone of this industry, and if they start failing, we got problems. Like we have problems because a lot of big box stores won't do other big box stores transfers.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. Depends on the manager and all that, but. Like the little guys is what kind of keeps the boat afloat, really.
This is why Jamin bought DPMS as well in the Remington bankruptcy, was so that he could because it's hard for dealers when you sell them a PSA product at say you sell it to them at $500 and then market's going down. So then we start selling what we sold you at $500. We're retailing on the website for $500. So he bought DPMS solely as for gun shops so they could buy it directly through us, directly through a distributor. It's map protected, MSRP, all that. We're never going to sell it on the website. So that was his thought in buying DPMS, was to prop up gun shops and help them.
Right.
Okay. So when you all bought in, when JJE bought into Remington, they bought DPMS. Did you all buy the ammo side?
No.
Or did Vista Outdoors bought that, right?
Vista.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we got H&R Storm Lake, DPMS,
AAC suppressor,
AAC, and which am I missing?
Harrington, H&R.
H&R.
Okay.
And Parker. I think they sold Parker.
Yeah.
We didn't want to do anything with Parker shotguns, but
Did you mention Storm Lake?
Yeah, Storm Lake.
Y'all got Storm Lake too?
Yeah, we're gonna do some cool stuff with Storm Lake, some different barrels and whatnot. AR barrels too. I'm working right now on a MOA guarantee barrel, which I'm gonna release as part of a competition platform and a new line that we're developing. So
yeah, I've used their barrels in a Glock 26 I had.
Mm-hmm. Storm Lake's good. They were good. We got all their prints, got all their material call outs and all that stuff. So we'll eventually revive it. It's just not. It hadn't been a priority yet, but that's something we're working on.
Okay. Awesome. Well, man, I know you got to run. I know you had something to do.
I had appliances being put in the house, and we're getting ready. We're doing this big KGM 16. It's a gas gun precision match this weekend. It's pretty big. It's a big deal. It's their championship series. We're just going to go shoot it for the first time, but and it's supposed to be like 20 in Georgia. So,
Oh man,
yeah, this tropical storm Nicole has been hammering Georgia and Florida. So,
yeah, that's where the meetup that I was telling you about earlier. That's where it's going to be. It's going to be in South Georgia, down in I think it's called Thomasville.
Yep. We're going to Arena, which is in Blakely, I believe.
Okay.
Well, yeah, big range.
Is it bigger than Clinton House?
Mm-hmm. GTI and Arena. I think Arena does a lot of government stuff. I know GTI does a whole lot of government contract stuff, but they're big. They're big range. The biggest range in the country, in my opinion, is in Talladega. The CMP. That's a beautiful. If you ever get a chance to go to Alabama, go to Talladega and go to the CMP. It's phenomenal. It looks like a ski resort for guns.
Okay. I'm not too far from Alabama, so I'm here to see.
It's beautiful. The CMP range. That's where we have the World Shoot and stuff like that, or the nationals. All the national USPSA matches are there.
Okay.
16 bays. It's or 20 bays. It's legit. It's a big. They got 1,000-meter course, and it's all televised. You can sit out on the veranda and eat and watch people shoot 1,000 meters and stuff. So.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go check that out too.
Yeah, you need to go check it out. It's definitely, and the CMP there. If you stop in, you got a little money saved. I bought 2 M1s from there from the CMP.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to coming back out to Clinton House. I really love that range. It was a nice setup. Really
That's
nice.
fine. That's where we train. I mean, we're there. We're either doing videos or training or practicing or running matches there just about every week.
Okay. I want to do the 1,000-yard challenge too next time.
You don't do that in a mile.
The mile, that's it.
We got 1,000 yards 5.56 challenge. You got to go 3 for 5, and then we got the mile challenge, and now we have a 2,100 yard challenge.
Okay.
Just over a mile and a quarter.
So the mile challenge, you got just one time, or you got to get 3 out of 5.
You hit it. I think Sexton used to make you do 2 out of 5, but we changed it. It's you hit it the first time, you get a coin. If you hit it with a PSA gun, you get a coin from me.
Okay. Well, then I'm gonna try and hit it with a PSA coin.
Yeah, and 6.5. The 6.65 Creedmoor is like 3.7 second flight time, 3.4 to 3.7 depending on tailwind. So it's you pull the trigger and it's like the longest 3.5 seconds you'll ever have. Everybody wants that coin, you know. We had the affiliate day that Josiah had. We had was it 26 people? Josiah?
It was in the 20s.
26, 27, 26 people that day shot the mile.
How many hit?
All of them.
Yep.
Except one, maybe. Wasn't there one guy? Or did
I
he come?
thought everybody in.
I think one guy did. I think his daughter did, but he didn't.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
She hit on the first shot.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I look forward to working with you guys.
You know why? Women listen.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're working with a woman shooting, they'll listen to everything you say. A man will it's like butt naked.
Well, I found on our range at my shop, the women will not listen to the husband. You can tell them the exact thing he just said.
Yeah.
She's still not going to listen to him. She's like, he told me to do this.
No.
And then that's the same thing I said.
If you go to correct somebody, the first thing you hear was I'm XLE or law military. that you just.
Do you know what my response to that is? Y'all are some of the worst shooters I seen on my range. And they just look at me like, what? Like, dude, I'm sorry. I can do
that because I've been both, and all every bit of my shooting came from a bay. It did not come from either of those two institutions.
Yeah, most of the law enforcement guys that come on our range can't shoot, man.
Well, it's not, and I joke with them. Some of my dear friends are law enforcement, still law enforcement. I shoot with them, some of them, but in their defense, their departments don't give them but like 50 rounds a year to practice, and then they expect them to shoot under fire when something goes wrong, and it's just not. I mean,
well, we got agencies here that pay for them. They pay for a contract for them to come shoot for free, and they give them like $100 a month.
That's
and
awesome.
They'll just take the ammo and stack it up and never come shoot.
That's on them.
Until it's time to qualify.
That's on them. That's on them. I know a lot of times when we do a law enforcement contract, significant law enforcement, 10 rifles or more through Leadstar, I'll take several cases of ammo, and Mike and I, or just Mike, or if I'm available, we'll go. We do little classes with them, kind of like a safe handling, cleaning, shouldering, especially female officers or younger officers that may not have shot an AR-15. They don't know. Right. And a lot of the guys in law enforcement, they don't have time to train or whatever. So we do a little. We've done some demos for them and stuff. So yeah, we'll do whatever we can to help them. But you're right. I mean, they don't, for a multitude of reasons. I've always said carrying a gun don't make you a shooter. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, man, go ahead and handle your appliances and do your thing. I greatly appreciate you coming on. Everybody appreciate you coming through.
Absolutely.
And we're definitely going to have you back on. You got a lot of information quick. And maybe we can talk you into some secrets next time.
It's too close to shot. If it was after shot and we was getting closer to the gathering, I'd leak some stuff. But we got, like I say, there's some cool stuff. There's some cool, neat things coming out.
This is why I always invite Chad on the podcast. He's got a lot of good info. People tell me I'm quiet. In person, I'm not quiet, but I just keep my mouth shut and let him talk.
Well, I talk a lot. I'm an extrovert. I'm an extrovert. But I'm engulfed in the industry. That's the thing. I mean, I try to be able to talk whatever. If you want to talk ballistics, if you want to talk guns, if you want to talk scopes, if you want to whatever. I try to know a little bit about everything so that customers come up and have a conversation. At least I don't sound as dumb as I look sometimes, but I enjoy it. I mean, I'm a gun guy. I'm a gun guy first, and I've said that since day one.
Yeah, I didn't get to meet you at the gathering. I got to holler at Josiah for a minute. Me and Queen, we managed to get in without getting our badges. So I was like, "Hey, did you get your thing?" And I was like, "No." It's about that time he came flying by on a little golf cart. I'm like, "Hey, Josiah." He rode us up there, got him, and brought us back. But yeah, that was.
Yeah, next time, finally, we were so big. The first day, that media day, that was the first time we had held it. We've been to Clinton House a billion times, but that event's different. It's got a different feel to it. Mm-hmm. That's the first time we'd been out there in Logan. I try to. I'm a boots on the ground guy. You'll never see me walking around watching somebody shovel. That's if there's stuff that needs to be done, I do it. Because I'm in a support role to her. This is her thing, and if she needs something moved around, whatever, I'll go do it just like everybody else will. But that media day was rough because people come in, they want flags, they want I need this. I need this table. I need this tablecloth, or I need a target, or it's just one thing after another. And we learned a lot from it. So it may not be as stressful next year, but it was still a big learning experience, and we got busy pretty quick.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had a great time.
I'm glad.
Looking forward to it. I look forward to hanging out with you guys at Shot Show for a little while.
Yep.
And like I said, I definitely appreciate y'all coming through. Is there anything else y'all want to say? Because I know you got to run.
Nope.
Anything? Any other
No,
social
good.
medias you want to put out there?
That's it. I mean, it's to the point now. I have a list this long. If I tried to put them up, if you search Palmetto State Army, I got a competitive shooting group, AK group, AR group, Jackal group, Dagger group. There's a users group that's run by Zane. He's one of our affiliates. I mean, we've got tons of social media presence.
Okay. What is a
And
flex?
our YouTube channel? We got our YouTube channel too. We're trying to put content up there pretty regularly, and I've got this 77 grain. The video, two things people were doing. They were talking about the ballistics effect of a 77 at 1,000 and what my gun was. And I did 2 videos a day explaining my gun setup, because a lot of people's wanting to get into competitive shooting. They just don't know where to start. And I've bought so much crap that don't work. If I can prevent that from somebody else, I'll do it. And all of my guns and all of my shooting buddies' guns are in their final form pretty much. So I explained that, and then we did the 77 grain video. So we're always trying to put content up to engage with consumers. It's just, if anything, just from informative approach.
Yeah, and you can get a lot of information about products and stuff coming out too. Because I've noticed, like right before stuff launches, you'll go on. And
yep. We try to. I go everything that comes out. I have some part of testing, and then I was like, why don't we video this? I'm down here doing it. I go shoot it and bring our shooting team in, and they'll shoot it, and the engineers are there biting their fingernails and sweating, because if you ever want something broken, you put it in a 3-gunner's hand and tell them to go shoot. That's the fact.
Or you put it in Mac's hands and he'll break it. Military Arms Channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be.
That's true. It's an honest statement. I mean, I don't know if he gets the worst of everything that every manufacturer does, or he's back there with a screwdriver beating shit or something. I don't know, but everything he gets, he breaks.
Yeah, it does, man.
And we do too. I mean, I broke a camera today, so
that wasn't your fault, though. We're gonna blame the hurricane.
It was raining, the wind was blowing hard. What are you gonna do?
Anybody got any last minute questions? If you got a question, you better throw it out there now. But yeah, man, I'm gonna send you the link to this video I'm working on for this 5.7.
Okay.
I'll let y'all check it out before anybody else.
Do it.
I already dropped the unboxing video, and this is a 300 round follow up video. So I got to finish doing some little editing to it, and then I'll get it over to you guys so you can check it out.
I like it.
Yeah, and it was crazy. I was like, I guess God was listening to me, because I was like, please put out some 5.7, and then you spit it right out. I was like, okay, it's coming.
That's close too, to be honest with you. We're going to use a VMAX as the projectile.
Okay, nice. And how close is that? Say Black Friday.
I was over there. I know it'll be. I'm pretty sure it's going to be by SHOT Show. I'm 99% sure it's going to be by SHOT Show, but don't 100% quote me on that. The problem is that machinery's built overseas. It's really expensive, really high-end machinery. I think it's built in Italy, maybe, and then it gets shipped to Arkansas, and they proof it. And once it's proofed, they move it to Colombia. So I mean, anything can happen. I mean, the stuff is in, and they're working on it. They were developing loads, last I heard. So they wouldn't be going through all of that if it wasn't close.
Okay.
I don't really have a pick list of their order. I get bits and pieces of it. I just get a phone call from either Jamin or the ballistician over there, or the guy who runs the place, and says, "Hey, I got ammo for you to test," and then I know what's coming out.
Gotcha. And what's the flex off? He said, tell us about the flex off.
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know if he's talking to God. He may have been talking to somebody else.
May have. I don't know. I know they do that on the AR-15 sites a lot. I don't know.
I think you answered this question earlier.
We did.
So
We did.
yeah.
I don't know for sure. We can the sales team does a really good job of doing that stuff, and they come up with stuff on the fly. I'll mention it to them. I mean, it may be something they want to do. It makes sense. I mean, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, that'll work. Well, y'all, BigDre357.com, links in the affiliates tab, Palmetto State Armory. Go pick up some stuff, man. Grab that rock deal. $5.99 for a 5.7 with 10 extra mags, 23 round mags at that.
Mm-hmm. It is a good deal.
That's a heck of a deal. Yeah, that's a heck of a deal. But they got a ton of stuff over there, man. Appreciate y'all coming through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank
y'all,
you.
Everybody out there, y'all have a good night. Be blessed. Stay dangerous. We'll catch y'all next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.